What's up, guys? Welcome back to Clash 100, Episode 2, Lecture 2. This is Professor Wu, and today I'm going to teach you how to Lavaloon. This will be mostly applicable for Town Hall 11 and below. It changes drastically once the Town Hall starts fighting back, and more specifically once the Town Hall has a bomb when it dies. That's when you have to plan differently. But this will be for Town Halls like 9, 10, 11. This is you can kind of extrapolate this for all three of those. So here's the army composition. This is like a very specified kind of attack. You know, the last one, mass E-Dragons, mass witches, you can kind of standardize that. This one, not really. I would generally recommend 2 Lava Hounds, but you can also have 1 or 3, depending on if you're doing a blimp kind of attack or not. If you're doing a blimp, you might want 3 to have 1 tank. If you have a straight lane you have created through the base, you might want 1 Lava Hound. But generally, I'd recommend 2. Anywhere from like 20 to 26 balloons is probably about right. 4 healers, but you can have less depending on the base. Never more. I wouldn't go 5 healers until you reach Town Hall 12. And then I usually use 3 wall breakers because I don't have a super wall breaker unlocked on this account. But if you have super wall breakers, 1 super wall breaker will be perfect. And then you just need some funneling troops for the queen walk, which we'll get to later. And then cleanup troops to come in behind the Lavaloon. Unlike the last strategy, and you may be thinking that it's best to zap out the air defenses, I generally would not do that with Lavaloon. You can, and I think for a general army, bringing enough to zap out 1 air defense, which is 2 lightning spells and 1 earthquake, is pretty good. Because what you'll be doing most often is actually zapping out the sweeper with that, but we'll get to that later. I would always bring 2 rage spells for your queen and 1 freeze. And then the rest, you're going to want haste spells for the Lavaloon. In your clan castle, in war, I would always bring a poison. I like bringing a skeleton spell as well, because that has multi-use throughout the match, but you can also replace that with a freeze or another haste. And then, generally, I would take a stone slammer in the clan castle, but there's plenty of siege machines that'll work, like a flame flinger, even a siege barracks at times, or a blimp at times, but usually stone slammer or flame flinger. Now let's get to some footage. So I had to wait to make this lecture because I had to be in war. Because this is an attack, I would never really use this attack in general gameplay. This is a war attack through and through. And because of that, that's why I say it's highly specialized, because you're going to specialize it based on the base you are attacking. So here's the first base I attacked in war. You'll notice it's really just a box base. You can kind of just draw the box out there. So there's a few key things you need to do in the Lavaloon. Now I'm at Town Hall 11, so there isn't Eagle Artillery. That is not necessarily crucial to the Lavaloon, but I would always start the Lavaloon on the side of the Eagle. So you're going to start like this. And sometimes that won't be the case, because you have the Eagle and the Queen nearby each other, and you can Queen walk into there and get rid of the Eagle. But in this case, they have the clan castle, Queen, and Eagle Artillery kind of spread out in a triangle like this. So I have to pick 2 of these 3 to come after. And it will not be the Eagle and the clan castle, because that's in the middle of the base. And one thing to know for Lavaloon is that these 2 things, most important to get out. Before anything else, you need to get rid of the clan castle and the enemy queen with your queen. So I know I want my queen to get into this pocket, right? So the clan castle has a range of about this, just kind of off the top of my head, which means that you can have a hog rider or a giant or something come in here, lure it, and then you can either, drag it out here with the kill squad, here with the kill squad, or your queen. But I want my queen to go into here. So what I didn't do in this attack, and what I could have done to get even more efficient, is use my queen to kill the clan castle. But you don't necessarily know what's in here. It could be headhunters, and in that case, you're fucked if you use your queen to try to kill them. So I opted for a kill squad of 20 archers and 1 baby dragon. and I use the barbarian to get in here and pull him out. Which means that I need to kill, assuming my kill squad gets these buildings down, I can place my queen onto this gold mine. I need to get rid of this elixir storage, break into this wall, and then she has access to this whole compartment, which is huge because that gives her access to the enemy queen, which is essential. The clan castle's already been taken out. This air defense will go down. This sweeper. Hopefully this inferno, this expo, and maybe if we get greedy, these two. But these two are not essential. It's really just all this that you want to get out there. And then generally you would just Lavaloon from the top now because you've cut this off, and then they would kind of move through the base like this. But that's not ideal. You really want a lane for your Lavaloon. So let's assume this is gone, right? So we want to take this out to form the lane. And sometimes the best way to do that is with a stone slammer. You put a stone slammer with like an E-dragon in there, or maybe 7 balloons, and then it'll get rid of this compartment. But what I noticed is that there's a mortar way back in here, which means if I put a flame flinger, as long as I test for traps right here, and maybe right here as well, if I put the flame flinger, it can kill all of these buildings, including, crucially, an air defense, without even being targeted by anything, because this mortar's so far back. And then there's this king, but the king's aggro range, you can tap on the altar, it'll show you the aggro range, is about this, so it doesn't even reach over the wall. So that's why I opted for a flame flinger on this base. And then I brought lightning spells and an earthquake spell in case I need to zap out another air defense. But ideally the flame flinger would get this one, the queen would get this one. You can put a hound in here, a hound in here, or you can zap one of these out depending on what you want to do, and they will just push down this lane and you'll be all good. So let's see how it works. So as you can see, I'm just luring out the clan castle, killing it with archers and the baby dragon and a poison spell. So that went perfect. And then I'm testing down here with a giant. That's to look for things like Teslas, giant bombs, skeleton traps, because any of those will really ruin your flame flinger. It has very low HP, and its HP, decreases over time, so you want it to be completely maxed to start. We got the E-drag down, and now I place my queen with 4 healers, and then I used a sneaky goblin to kill this storage down here, or that collector. And then the queen can attack this storage. She can shoot at it from the wall break, so that's not a problem. But the problem is if she starts stepping out here, so you want to really get any building in this area I would have taken out. Luckily there was only one, so it was pretty easy. Now let's see. I have the frozen arrow on my queen, which means she can easily 1v1 the enemy queen as long as nothing else is shooting her, which nothing else really is, just a mortar. Nothing to worry about. She steps in and I place the skeleton spell to tank the single target inferno. This is what I love using the skeleton spell for because it really distracts it. And whereas a free spell would have already worn off by now, the skeleton spell is still kicking. Unfortunately, my queen gets stuck in the tornado trap and kind of goes out to the outside. So she takes a while to actually get locked onto this inferno, which means that I unfortunately have to use the freeze here. But once the freeze wears off, she's got the frozen arrow, so she'll be fine. And then I start my lalo from the top. I did zap out this air defense because when I'm trying to create this lane, I thought that having another air defense over here might pull my lava hound and my balloons a little bit farther out than I wanted. Because you can see the flame flinger totally cleaned this pocket, and it's about to move in on this air defense, so that went well. And then now we just come in from the eagle artillery, and in a Lavaloon, as long as you can attack from the side of the eagle, it's not that scary at all. So I have my warden move in with the balloons. You always want your warden set to air for something like this. I forgot to mention that, but it should be pretty obvious. And then I used a bit of a premature warden ability here. I probably should have waited until the balloons were more over those first 2 expos, but right now I have a perfect lane. I still have a haste spell, and I've got 20 balloons moving in there. So that's just great. You can see hasten through the expos. Now we move on to the back side of the base. And something that you can't really see in this footage, but is absolutely crucial to this attack, is you need some minions. I recommend minions. Doesn't have to be minions, but I think they're the best troop for this purpose, you want some minions to clean up behind where your Lavaloon comes in. You can see here all these buildings are dead because the king, some minions, some lava pups, some archers were all back there to get rid of them. If you don't have cleanup troops like that, your Lavaloon pushes through the base attacking all the defenses. Now it ends over here, but then they have to fly all the way back over to get rid of these bases where or these buildings where you spawned them in. And sometimes that can result in a time fail. The general rule of thumb is you want to start your lava hounds and balloons coming in with like a minute and 40 seconds left. If you have cleanup troops, you can push that down a little bit more, like a minute 30, but I would shoot for a minute 40. But yeah, this base is crushed. There's something else that I did not do in this attack that I should have done and just forgot to do. It didn't end up mattering, but it will in the next attack, and fortunately I do it in the next attack, so we'll get to that later. Now here I want to show you guys a base that I did not attack, and I'll explain why I did not attack it. I didn't attack this because I specifically wanted to show off Lavaloon with this war, and I only have 2 attacks to do that. But this is like a really good base to attack with some sort of like mass dragons, mass E-dragons. You have a blimp fly in, probably under warden ability, and then you bomb this all out and lure the clan castle. You can bring it all the way out here to kill it. You can giant arrow down this line to kill 2 air defenses. You don't really have to worry about the multis. Hopefully you've killed the eagle and at least 2 of these bows with your blimp. And then now you can attack in here, zap the sweeper, and you just have a wave of dragons or E-dragons rush through the base. That's what I probably would have done. I would not use Lavaloon with multi-target infernos. If there's one multi-target inferno and you can get it with the queen walk, then sure. But if there's more than that, like, I guess maybe, let's say you queen walk in here, and you cut this off with the queen, so she moves it this way, right? And then you have some sort of, like, kill squad and your siege machine to go over here, or at least cut this off. Then you have this lane, sorta, for your Lavaloon. Then I could see it, because you can do early warden ability. But the problem with that is the eagle's in the middle, you left it up, like, it's just not a good base for it. So I didn't really want to attempt that attack on this base. This is the second base that I attacked. So you'll see I was checking for the clan castle range, and we know that if I get the queen into here, I can take out an air defense, eagle. I'll probably have to zap out this air sweeper because otherwise it would push my healers back. We're well within the clan castle's range, so we'll lure the clan castle, kill them, hopefully kill this enemy queen as well, and maybe get greedy and take out that last air defense. So in order to pull that off, we probably need this building gone and these buildings gone. So the queen has no choice really but to get through here with some wall breakers. And so I only bring 3 healers here. So something I did, which the reason you have more than 3 healers, like let's say you bring 4 or 5 healers, if one of them dies, it's not the end of the world, especially because we're always bringing 2 rage spells and a free spell just for when things get hectic there with the queen walk. But something I didn't do in the last attack that I should have, and you should always do, is a concept called Coco Loons. I have no idea why they're called that. I just like to call them suicide balloons because I think that's fucking badass. So you have a balloon going here, you have a balloon going here, you have a balloon going here, and then when these defenses go down this ring, you have another balloon going here to the eagle. Now what this is going to do is it's going to pull any air traps, specifically air skeletons and black mines, the seeking air mines. That's what you're trying to pull. Because if they hit a balloon, it's not the end of the world. If the skeletons hit a balloon, the queen will kill them. And if the black mine hits a balloon, whatever, it won't hit a healer. But the black mines one-shot healers, and the skeletons can get some real damage in before the queen turns around to kill them if they're on a healer. Now, one thing I did not realize, which I should have checked for, and you should always check for, is that the air defense, it reaches out here. So when I started my queen walk, as you'll see, I have the healers here, and they start getting hit. So I had to use my suicide balloons a little bit prematurely, but whatever. You can use them to tank air defenses, check for black mines. It's good to have a surplus of balloons. I have 24. Really, I can use like 6 of them. Still have 18 for the Lavaloon and be fine. So let's see how this works out. So first I'll have a balloon on the mortar to finish that off, which will let me pick off all the rest of the things out there with goblins once they're on my queen. And for this, I had to check the range of the X-bow. It barely missed him, and this cannon also barely missed him. So I know I could put a wizard out there. In some cases, you may have to sacrifice for like a baby dragon or something to take something out. But funneling, trust me, is worth it. If you mess up the funnel, that can be your attack just down the drain. So we have the wizard funneling on one side. We have the queen go in. And as you can see, I immediately start taking air defense shots. So I know I'm going to lose one healer. And then I'm only going to have two. So I need to send balloons into tank. So I started doing that. So then now they're on the balloons. And more balloons go in. And now we have goblins sending the right side of the funnel. So the queen's definitely going to go in. We have the balloon going in for the eagle. Probably send another balloon. I do. Perfect. Now we have 19 balloons left. So the eagle's going to go down. Luckily, these skeletons retargeted onto the balloon. They were heading for my healers. And that balloon pulls a black mine, so it went perfectly. And then I poisoned the E-Dreg. And something I did here, which I probably didn't have to do because they have poison and frozen arrow, I raged my queen and the healers. I'm not sure that was necessary, but I did not want to take an E-Drag shot because an E-Drag can almost one-shot the queen at certain levels, and I didn't know what level E-Drag that was. So I'm through everything. And now here's where I mess up a little bit. So I noticed that the single target Inferno's on my queen. I didn't really realize it would be able to shoot her so early. So I froze it. But notice I have in my back pocket a skeleton spell. If I put the skeleton spell here after freezing, that single target Inferno would just be locked up for really the foreseeable future and wouldn't target my queen. But instead of that, I raged my queen, and then I just let the single target keep shooting her and start the Lavaloon. And, you know, she goes to ability, which isn't the end of the world, right? But the skeleton spell would have been well worth the value there because now, especially, it's targeting my Lava Hound, which is also not great. But so the queen got all this. And now, usually you want kind of a thin lane. I did leave a lot back out here. But I'm really using this as my main lane. Like this right here is the main lane that I'm going through, with this kind of being the back end that I'm going to finish on. And I use my Stone Slammer back here to speed things up. Not necessary. You can place your Stone Slammer with the Lavaloon and it'll do just fine. But I decided to do a secondary kind of mini Lavaloon from this side. It is going into a sweeper, but again, this is my main lane coming this way. So I'm not too worried about going into a sweeper with 10 balloons because I know I have a bunch of balloons coming this way. And then the Grand Warden's going to be with them. So I just want some balloons to go in to pick off these defenses so I can keep my arc mostly okay and the balloons won't fan out over there. So that's what I'm doing over here. Ideally, maybe you use a siege machine to you know, get all this out of the way and have a better lane, but it's not the end of the world because this is if you can get the queen walk right, this is a pretty foolproof attack strategy in my opinion. You have balloons going in, 8 balloons to support this Lava Hound, and remember we have 11 balloons coming in the main lane with the spell support. I actually put my Grand Warden from the left. That's interesting. I should have put him with the main group, but again, there's if you get the queen walk right, there's a lot of room for error with the actual Lavaloon. You just need to make sure you have a decent path through the base and at least a quarter of it cut out with the queen walk, which needs to include the clan castle and the enemy queen. If you leave either of those up, it's pretty much over. So again, we have the minions up here, doing the cleanup. My Stone Slammer took out most of the entire bottom, so now it's just a matter of finishing off the base. There's nothing to stop us here. And again, I waited until there was a war to really show off this attack strategy because you need to have that clan castle to fight. Otherwise, you're not getting great practice in. Like, you can train a general army, go out into multiplayer battles, try to spin even matchups and see if you can take out people of your town hall level with this. But if you're not fighting a clan castle, you're not really getting the most out of that practice because that's alongside the enemy archer queen and maybe a couple air defenses. That's what you're trying to get out of the way first. You want your queen to go in, get the clan castle, the enemy queen, and at least one air defense. Like, that's minimum. If you do that, you're really set. Like you can zap out one more air defense, you can zap out a sweeper. You ideally you have a quarter of the base cut out there, so you have, if not a lane, like if you don't have a straight lane, you have sort of an arc path, which is not the end of the world. Basically, what you're trying to avoid is you're trying to avoid a situation like this, where you come in here with the Lavaloon, and your balloons split like this. That's what you don't want, right? So if you cut out this corner, for example, you're not going to attack like this. Don't do that. You're going to come in from this side or this side, right? So that you go along this path. And obviously in this case, I cut out this quarter. So I came in from this side, and then I supported like this, which is what you want to do. You don't want to place all your balloons. What I see sometimes is that people they'll put in their Lava Hound, and then they will just hold down and put every single balloon right here. And you'll have a mass of like 20 balloons just come in. You're not getting much out of that. Balloons do a ton of damage, right? So what you want is you want your Lava Hound to come in at an angle so that it tanks a lot of defenses. Let's say you have an air defense right here, and there's this defense, this defense, this defense, and this defense, right? If you put the Lava Hound like this, it's going to tank 2 defenses, maybe 3 if this has large enough range. So you don't really want to do that, right? You want to do something like this, where the Lava Hound comes in from this side. Because as it flies in, it's going to tank these 2. And you can put 2 or 3 balloons on each, and then once it gets to the air defense, it's tanking these 2. Then you can put 2 or 3 more balloons on each of these. And now you have like 12 balloons coming in, so that's a good group. And then if we have the other air defense like around here, like we did, you can have this Lava Hound come into support, and then you can have more balloons. Like balloons come in as it flies in, right? And then balloons come in when it starts to tank more defenses in this area. So it's about being surgical with it. This is not a spam strategy. Like dragons, I honestly recommend you put them all in the same spot as long as you set a little bit of a funnel. They don't need that much. But Lavaloon, you want to have your Lava Hound come in, groups of balloons all around where it's flying in. This area will be done. You put your haste spell here, your haste spell here. The balloons start shooting inwards, and then you have another Lava Hound. You have some more groups of balloons coming in, just like 2 or 3 at a time. Haste when they're on the outside, pump them into the middle of the base, and then that's it. Like at that point, you've got this done with your queen already. They're coming in here. They're coming in here. And then all that's left is this last spot. Even if I didn't put my Stone Slammer there, the balloons were going to group up and just charge it straight down the lane. I could have had my Stone Slammer come in this way. Even with the initial group, it would have been just fine. But I've seen in some of your attacks, like I saw one, I'm not going to name names, you know who you are. You put 3 Lava Hounds on one side and like 26 balloons on the other. That just defeats the entire purpose. Lava Hounds don't do much of anything alone. They're terrible. Like I could do a full camp of Lava Hounds, and I could, on my main Town Hall 14 account, and I could go up against the Town Hall 11, and I would lose that attack. It just wouldn't work. So you want your Lava Hounds to tank for balloons in packs. So they pick off the defenses all together at the same time. That might be a bad way to word that. Because let's say all your balloons are actually all together. You're going to go from defense to defense to defense to defense to defense to defense. And by that time, a minute's done and you've lost 10 balloons already. Whereas if you do it like this and have a few on each defense, all the defenses are dying at the same time. They're on this Lava Hound. They're all overwhelmed and they're gone. And then you focus on this quarter now. You have another Lava Hound come in. You do the same thing. Now all these are gone. Then it's just this, and you still have most of these balloons left, maybe even a Lava Hound alive. If you have one more haste spell, if you've used like 1, 2 here, then you have a third to push them down the middle. It's over for the base. So it's just about placement. Get the queen walk right, first of all. 100% get the queen walk right. Get the clan castle down. If you can't lure it, the queen has to go in. If you can lure it, you can bring a little kill squad to kill it on the side of the base. Get the queen to go in, kill the enemy queen, an air defense, maybe an Inferno or Expo if you can get some extra value. The eagle is great as well. I think if you don't kill the eagle with the queen walk, you have to start your lalo over there. Like let's say I queen walked over here and the eagle was here. You know how I told you not to do this? Well, in this case, you have to do that basically. So what I would recommend is lalo, whatever, through both of these compartments, quarters at once, right? So it's like this. You have this done. The eagle, target number 3 after the clan castle and archer queen is here. So you're going to want to start one Lava Hound here with like a few balloons behind, And you're going to want to haste this group a lot so they can catch up with the other group. And then you have your Lava Hound over here, troops behind. So then by the time this eagle is activated, you already have balloons closing in on it. You already have this compartment down, and they still finish out the arc. It's less than ideal. And in a base with that kind of spread, where the queen and clan castle over here and the eagles over here, if you can't get the eagle with a blimp or something or a flame flinger, I just wouldn't even use Lavaloon on it. But if you can get the eagle with the queen and the clan castle like this, it's a prime candidate to use Lavaloon on this base. So I hope that helps. If you need any more help reading the bases, seeing when to use it, when not to use it, you can always send me a screenshot of the base you're up against, ask me, and I'll let you know. But now you've got, if you're Town Hall 11, you got a myriad of attack strategies that I've just showed you, and most of this applies to Town Hall 10 as well. It's just easier because you don't have to deal with an Eagle artillery. You also don't have a Warden, but I don't think the Warden has been especially crucial in anything I've shown you across Mass Dragons, Mass E-Dragons, Mass Witch, Lavaloon. So you've got options. Use them, please. Looks like now that our Town Hall 13s are shit, so I gotta work on that. So I'm leaving Town Hall 11 behind. Okay, Town Hall 11, Town Hall 10, you guys figure it out. I've given you enough. You should be able to make something happen. And I'm moving on to bigger and better. So this is the end of lecture 2. Make sure you do your homework. Goodbye.